$1.87. That was all. 3 times Della counted it. $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. Della was living with her loving husband James, in a furnished flat at $8 per week. They were not that poor. James used to earn $30 per week from his former employer. But out of blue, the income was shrunk to $20. But the love between Della and James never shrunk down. Whenever Mr. James came home and reached his flat above him, someone calling him as Jim would be heard and greatly hugged, and that was no one except his loving wife Della. The next day was Christmas, and she only had $1.87 with which she wanted to buy Jim a present. She had been saving every penny she could for months, with this result. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Spending hours thinking a perfect present for him. Suddenly she walked towards the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. Now, there were 2 possessions of James and Della in which they both took mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. It reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. She fluttered out the door and down the stairs to the street. Where she stopped, the sign read, "Madam Sofronie. Hair goods of all kinds.
Will you buy my hair?
Let me have a look. Take your hat off, please."
Down rippled the brown cascade, lifting the mass with a practiced hand.
$20.
Give it to me quick.
And the next 2 hours, she was ransacking the stores for Jim's present. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design. It was worthy for the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him. Quietness and value, the description applied to both. $21. They took those from her, and she hurried home with the 87 cents. Della reached home. Within 40 minutes her head was covered with tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror carefully and critically.
If Jim doesn't like me before he takes a second look at me, he'll say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. But what could I have done?
At 7 o'clock the coffee was made and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered from. Then she heard his step on the stairway down on the first flight, and she turned pale for a moment.
Oh God, please save me. Please make him think I am still beautiful.
The door opened and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow, he was only 22 and to be burdened with a family. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in him that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was neither anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her with that peculiar expression on his face. Della wriggled off the table and went to him.
Jim, darling, don't look at me like that. I had my hair cut off and sold because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. It'll grow again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, and let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I've got for you.
You've cut off your hair.
Cut it off and sold it. Don't you like me just as well, anyhow? I'm me without my hair, ain't I?
Your hair is gone.
You don't need to look for it, it's sold. I am telling you, they are sold and gone. It's Christmas Eve. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered, but nobody could ever count my love for you.
Jim drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table.
Don't have any misunderstanding about me. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that could make me like my girl any less. But if you'll unwrap that package, you may see why you had me going a while at first.
When Della unwrapped the gift from Jim, there lays the combs. The set of combs, side and back, that Della had worshipped long in a Broadway window. Beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell, with jeweled rims just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. They were expensive combs. Della hugged them.
My hair grows awfully fast, Jim.
And then Della leapt up like a little singed cat and cried.
Oh, you have not seen your gift yet. I hunted all over town to find it. You'll have to look at the time 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it.
Instead of obeying, Jim sat down on the couch and simply smiled.
Della, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use as present. 'Cause I can't give you my watch. The combs you see are what I sold and got those combs from. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs.
The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men. They invented the art of giving gift in the Christmas. Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, but Della and Jem's two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house and set a higher standard of gift and manifested the love for each other.